Hello, my name is Ella, and I'm going to be showing you how to create a build in the game Dead by Daylight. What is Dead by Daylight? Dead by Daylight is a survival horror game in which you have 4 survivors versus 1 killer. The survivors have to complete 5 generators and avoid the killer in order to escape the match. Killers have to hunt down survivors, hook them 3 times, at which point the survivor will be dead. The first thing you have to decide when playing this game is, are you going to play as a killer or as a survivor? Killers and survivors have very different goals in the game. Survivors have to complete the generators, avoid the killer, help their fellow survivors in case they get caught, and escape the match. Killers, on the other hand, have to hunt down survivors, prevent survivors from doing generators, hook survivors, or outright kill survivors. If you decide that you are going to play killer, you will have to decide which killer you're going to play. There are currently 20 killers in game, and each of them has their own unique ability, which will help you hunt down survivors. You should choose a killer based on your playstyle, and you may have to play around a little bit to find out what your playstyle is. But if you decide that you prefer to stay further back from survivors and hunt them down, you may choose to play someone like the Huntress, who has hatchets that she can throw at survivors. But if you decide that you're the type of killer who likes to get the jump on survivors, you may choose someone like the Spirit, who can turn invisible and sneak up on survivors. Now, if you decide that you're going to play a survivor, you also have to decide who you will play. There are currently 23 survivors to choose from in-game, and each of them have their own separate perks that will help you in-game. Now, as you play the game more, the survivor that you play as will matter less and less, because as you play, you will be able to unlock those perks for other survivors. But if you decide that you want to be an altruistic survivor and help other survivors, you may choose someone like Claudette, who has a lot of healing perks that will allow her to heal herself and others at a very quick speed. If you think that you are more of an aggressive player, you may choose to play as Meg, who has a lot of perks that will help you escape the killer. The next thing you have to choose are your offerings, items, and add-ons. Items are a very powerful tool to survivors. You have things like toolboxes that will help you complete generators faster. They will help you disable hooks if you need to, and generally just make the killer's life much harder. You've also got items like medkits, which will allow you to heal yourself and other survivors. Killers have add-ons that they can attach to their powers to make them more powerful. Killers have things that will either enhance their ability or take away a downside of their ability or even make things harder for survivors. And both killers and survivors have offerings. You have offerings like map offerings, which will take you to whatever map you choose. So, for example, this is the Strode Realty key, and it will take you to Haddonfield, which is Michael Myers' map. And then you've got things like this for killers, which allow you to outright kill a survivor without having to hook them. And then the most important thing that you will choose are your perks. You can have 4 perks in game, and you should choose perks that will complement your style of play. As you play, you will have to unlock perks. When you first start playing, each killer will have 3 perks. Each killer and survivor will have 3 perks that are unique to them. And then as you play and get more points, you'll be able to unlock them for other killers and other survivors. Some examples of perks are like this one right here. This is a killer perk called Hex Ruin that will make it much harder for survivors to complete generators. This is a survivor perk called Self-Care, which will allow you as a survivor to heal yourself, which can really make a killer's life much harder. And you have tons more than the ones that are shown here. To give you an example of what this would look like, I have created my own builds. So as a killer, I usually play as Michael. He has the ability to stalk characters, so he gains power from stalking them, and it makes him faster and stronger, and it generally just makes him much scarier. I usually add in some things that will help me gain power quicker. And then as for perks, I take in brutal strength, which allows me to break pallets and generators much quicker, so I will be able to reach survivors much quicker. And then I take in things like iron grasp and agitation, so that when I down survivors, they can't get away from me. And lastly, I take in Hex Ruin, which will just slow down the game and take a lot of pressure off of me to keep it slowed down. As Survivor, I usually play as Quentin Smith, who is from the 2010 Nightmare on Elm Street movie. I usually take in perks like Urban Evasion, which will allow me to move quickly and easily across the map. I'll take in Self Care to allow myself to heal myself. And then I'm a very altruistic player, so I'll take in Botany Knowledge and We'll Make It, as well as a med kit that will allow me to heal other survivors very, very, very quickly. And then as offerings for both, I usually bring in something that will increase the amount of points that I get after the game to allow me to unlock other perks and items and add-ons. And that is how you create a build in the game Dead by Daylight.